Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine picking up a new book, right? And from the very first lines, it just feels n- familiar, comfortable, like a beloved fantasy epic, the kind with that mythic scope, the deep questions, the struggles that sort of echo down the ages. But then as you get into it, it hits you with this mind bending science fiction stuff that doesn't just push the boundaries of reality, it actually proposes to rewrite them entirely. We're talking about a story here that honestly it could sit right there on the shelf next to you, like the profound moral landscapes of C.S. Lewis, or the incredibly detailed worlds of Tolkien, maybe the epic struggles in Weiss and Hickman, or, Salvatore's character driven adventures, even the quest filled journeys in Eddings, or the deep magic in Brooks. But even with all those amazing inspirations, it feels like it charts its own course. Really unique and intellectually rigorous, too. Welcome to the deep dive. This is your shortcut to being well informed. We take a whole stack of sources, could be articles, research, your own notes, whatever, and we pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights. We try to add some surprising facts, maybe just enough humor, to keep you hooked. Today we're doing something a little different, something that I think is just perfect for that inner bookworm, the one who loves getting lost in a new world, but also likes their mind stretched a bit. We are diving deep into William L. Weaver's epic science fantasy saga, The Logos War. Specifically, we're focusing on the really tantalizing first chapter of book one. It's called The Great Unraveling, The Static.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is how Weaver doesn't just smash genres together. He really crafts a narrative that speaks directly to those of us who cherish that mythic scope, right? The profound philosophical questions, the epic struggles you find in classic fantasy. But he grounds it firmly in intellectual rigor. It's not just hand-waving magic or tech. It feels like a world built on really thoughtful, speculative science. So our mission for this deep dive really is to explore how this first chapter, The Static, meticulously sets things up. Not just a compelling character and an immediate conflict, but it hinted this huge universe-spanning war and a philosophical quest that, honestly, it echoes the very best of epic science fantasy. It's like a taste. A taste of a grand adventure that promises to be both thrilling and really intellectually stimulating.
Right. So if you're someone who loves to ponder the big ideas, the nature of reality itself, or if you revel in really detailed world building that kind of rewards you for paying close attention, and maybe you find those aha moments when you see seemingly different genres like hard science fiction and ancient myth blended in unexpected ways, then you are absolutely in for a treat. This deep dive is tailor made for you. We want to give you a genuine taste of this new saga and maybe reveal why it promises to be something truly special, something thought provoking. We're going to walk through this first chapter together and just show you why it sets such an intriguing stage. So, those very first lines of the Logos War saga, they're incredibly effective, aren't they? They just grab you. For 50 years, the grand story of physics has stalled, leaving the greatest questions of the universe unanswered. Bam. It immediately sets this tone of intellectual yearning, a search for fundamental truth. It feels very much like those quests for ancient wisdom in our favorite fantasy novels, where the heroes are always seeking some long lost knowledge or deciphering hidden texts, maybe pursuing forgotten artifacts to figure out cosmic mysteries, restore balance.
Exactly. It's not just framed as a scientific problem, is it? It feels more like a spiritual void almost. A sense that something crucial is missing from our understanding. And you connect that to the bigger picture, like you said, this opening establishes a world that's just ripe for a paradigm shift. A world where the old ways of thinking have hit a wall, a dead end. The summary tells us the protagonist, Jaren Miles, believes everyone is reading the book upside down, which is just such a fantastic metaphor, isn't it?
It really is.
It immediately positions Jaren as this maverick, a visionary who sees things fundamentally differently. And that echoes that classic heroic archetype, doesn't it? The brilliant but ostracized figure,
Hmm.
often misunderstood, maybe ahead of their time. Think of a young Merlin, maybe. His understanding of magic in the world just sets him apart. Or someone like Driss Do'Urden, defying the norms of his society,
Real.
forging his own path. Even Frodo Baggins, burdened with this unique destiny that sets him apart from the Shire, called to a path nobody else really gets.
Yeah?
Jaren's isolation, even before we properly meet him in the chapter, it underscores that unique perspective. It foreshadows the lonely path of discovery he's on. That's such a common thread for protagonists who challenge the status quo, right?
Yeah.
Because the truth they're chasing is just too radical, too disruptive for the mainstream.
Okay, so what is Jaren's controversial theory then, the one that sets him apart? It's this idea that reality is not built on random chance, but on a deep underlying language.
Hmm.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting for me. This is where the science fantasy element just sparks. This concept, a universe built on language, on a source code, it immediately brings to mind things like Tolkien's creation myth. Ero Iluvatar singing the world Arda into being through the music of the Ainur, the whole fabric of existence born from language, from structured sound. But it also resonates really deeply with those ancient philosophical and theological ideas of logos.
Oh, absolutely. That's a crucial connection you're making there.
Okay.
Because when we talk about logos, we're not just talking about word in the simple sense. In ancient Greek philosophy, think Heraclitus, the Stoics, logos was, well, it was divine reason, the fundamental principle of order and knowledge in the cosmos.
Right, the underlying structure.
Exactly. The rationality that gives reality its form and meaning. And then in an early Christian theology, of course, it's the divine word through whom all things were created. So for Weaver to ground Jaron's scientific quest in this idea that the universe has this decipherable fundamental language or code, it just elevates the whole scientific pursuit. It becomes something almost spiritual, a search for the blueprint of creation itself.
Wow.
It implies this fundamental order that humans might be able to not just observe, but to, read, translate, maybe even manipulate.
Whoa.
This isn't just theoretical physics anymore, is it? It's
Right.
like cosmic linguistics.
So, okay, if the universe isn't just random forces, if it has this inherent structure, this language, what does that actually mean for us? It raises huge questions, doesn't it, about agency, free will, maybe even the idea of a higher power.
Mm-hmm.
If the universe runs on a program that someone or something might have written or could even edit.
Big questions.
And Jaron's situation, his isolation, working with this scavenged supercomputer to search for a signal in the cosmic static, it perfectly blends that hard sci-fi element with a kind of mystical quest. It's not just crunching numbers. It's like he's trying to discern a hidden message woven into reality itself. It reminds me of those ancient scholars, poring over scrolls in some dusty library, looking for forbidden texts, hidden truths.
Or a wizard in their tower, yeah. Trying to decipher ancient runes, believing some fundamental truth is just waiting there.
Exactly. The discovery itself becomes an act of interpretation, finding meaning in the static. And the summary tells us his experiment, this daring experiment, actually yields an impossible result. He gets his proof. The universe has a source code, and he is the first human to read a single word of it. Can you just imagine that moment, that sheer aha? It's not just a scientific breakthrough like winning a Nobel Prize. It's a revelation, a moment of profound cosmic insight that almost nobody in history could even conceive of.
It's paradigm shattering.
Totally. It's like a fantasy hero finally discovering the true names of power,
Yeah.
right? Gaining control over fundamental forces, or deciphering that ancient prophecy that reveals the world's destiny.
Yeah, or unlocking the fundamental magic system.
Precisely. This isn't a small step. It's a giant, irreversible leap. It's a point of no return. Knowledge just shifts the entire landscape of reality, not just for Jaron, but potentially for everyone, and maybe everything.
And what's so fascinating, kind of chilling, is the immediate reaction. It's drastic. Instead of getting accolades, publications, grants, it triggers alarms in the deepest corridors of power.
Right, no parades for Jaron.
No, quite the opposite. This isn't a story about scientific triumph being celebrated. Instead, you have this clandestine agency called continuity, their job, preserving global stability at any cost. And they see Jaron's breakthrough as a threat to the very fabric of a fragile reality.
Wow, okay.
So boom, right away you have this powerful, omnipresent antagonist,
Yeah.
a shadowy force. It feels very reminiscent of those vast, watchful dark lords in fantasy epics. Think Sauron's eye, always watching, or maybe the manipulative reach of someone like Raistlin Majere in Dragonlance.
Or dystopian sci-fi governments.
Exactly. Those oppressive regimes always trying to control information, maintain the status quo, no matter the cost of freedom or truth, and their resources are described as limitless, which just emphasizes the insane odds Jaron is up against. His fight isn't just personal, it's existential. It really makes you wonder, what kind of truth could possibly be so dangerous that it justifies that kind of extreme reaction?
That's a crucial point, yeah, because it immediately throws Jaron out of the lab, out of quiet contemplation, into this desperate flight. He's thrust into a world of shadows and secrets, forced to run, hunted by this enemy with limitless resources. It's that classic on-the-run narrative, isn't it? Where the hero, through no fault of their own really, becomes a target of this overwhelming, often faceless power.
You immediately think of the Fellowship fleeing the Nazgul, right? Those terrifying wraiths pursuing them relentlessly across Middle-earth.
Absolutely. Or heroes escaping a tyrannical empire. Yeah, like the rebels in Star Wars constantly ducking the Empire's might. It instantly creates this sense of urgency, high stakes. It establishes Jaren not just as this brilliant mind, but now as a reluctant fugitive caught in a much bigger, much more dangerous game than he ever signed up for.
His intellectual breakthrough becomes the catalyst for a desperate fight just to survive. He has to adapt to this world of espionage and conflict he never, ever anticipated. And crucially, this discovery isn't just an Earth problem, it's not contained. The summary says it sends a ripple across the cosmos, a beacon that is finally answered.
Okay, this is where the science fantasy really ramps up to epic.
Definitely. The arrival of mysterious, powerful allies from beyond Earth. That immediately connects to those grander narratives in our favorite fantasy, where ancient, powerful forces step in.
Right, not just generic aliens.
No, the wording is key. Powerful allies. It suggests ancient races, maybe even higher beings, coming to aid the Chosen One, or at least participate in a conflict that's may have been going on long before humans were even around. It mirrors the timely intervention of the elves in Tolkien, or the dragons and gods in Dragonlance, or those wise ancient forces in Shannara. Their arrival implies history, purpose, knowledge far beyond ours. It broadens the conflict from a global manhunt to something truly cosmic. It's not just a human problem anymore, it's universal.
So what does this all mean? For Jaren, for us reading it, his small experiment, his quiet intellectual quest, has somehow made him a key player in a secret, universe-spanning war that has raged for eons. I mean, that is the ultimate hook for fans of this genre, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
It transforms this solitary scientific discovery into a cosmic battle over the very nature of existence itself. And that scale, spanning eons, the whole universe, it immediately brings to mind those vast ancient wars against ultimate evil in Tolkien's lore, like the struggle against Morgoth and Sauron that shaped Middle-earth.
Or the multiplanar conflicts you see in other epic sagas, where different realms, dimensions, planes of existence are all tangled up in these huge struggles between fundamental forces.
Yeah. It elevates the stakes from just personal survival to the fate of reality itself. It turns one guy's intellectual journey into this pivotal moment for the entire cosmos. It's breathtaking, really, the ambition there.
And the sweeping vision then raises this incredibly important question, a question that really echoes through the best of these kinds of stories, whether they lean fantasy or sci-fi. The question is, in a universe where reality itself can be rewritten, what is the final word?
Ooh.
That's the profound philosophical core, isn't it? Underpinning the whole saga. It pushes it beyond just action into this realm of deep existential inquiry. It forces us and the characters to really consider the foundations of truth, identity, existence. It reminds me a lot of C.S. Lewis's explorations, free will, divine purpose, the nature of good and evil in Narnia, where choices have cosmic weight. Or think about the fundamental questions about life, death, morality the characters grapple with in, say, White and Hickman's Deathgate cycle, where the very fabric of magic and world creation is tied to ethics. Weaver isn't just giving us a battle for power. It feels like it's going to be a struggle for the definition of reality itself. It invites us to ponder who gets to decide what's real and what happens when that power is unleashed.
Okay, so let's zoom in now. Chapter 1, The Static. It immediately immerses us in Jaren's world, right? Pulls us from that huge cosmic overview straight into, well, the stifling confines of Dr. Alistair Finch's office. And the description is just, wow. The air in Finch's office was a carefully preserved artifact. Smells of things that had stopped changing. The slow, sweet decay of paper. The faint, resinous scent of the dark wood paneling. The ghost of chalk dust.
You can almost smell it.
Right. It's described as a shrine to stasis. A museum dedicated to the last time anyone had discovered anything truly new.
That imagery is so powerful, it instantly conveys this conservative, unchanging, almost stagnant environment Jaren is trapped in. It's not just an office, is it? It's like a physical manifestation of the intellectual inertia he's fighting, a place where innovation has been, like, embalmed and put on display, admired for what it was, not what it could be. And Dr. Finch himself, he just perfectly personifies this environment. He's presented with his paternalistic weariness. His voice is a well-worn instrument. He doesn't come across as outright villainous, does he? He seems to genuinely care about Jaren, his career. But he's such a rigid gatekeeper of the established order. He's trying to offer this gentle but firm course correction.
Yeah.
And that dynamic is so common and so compelling in heroic stories. The mentor figure who means well, who's walked a certain path themselves, but just can't or maybe won't see beyond the accepted boundaries. And that forces the hero onto their own, usually more dangerous path.
Like Gandalf trying to keep Bilbo safe and comfortable at first.
Exactly.
Mm.
Or you think of all those wizard council members in fantasy who represent the entrenched conservative wisdom. They're hesitant about radical solutions or new power, even when the world's falling apart. Finch represents that inertia, that comfortable stagnation that true innovation always threatens. His intention might seem like protection, but the effect is suppression.
And it's clear Finch sees Jaren's other work, the work on superconductors, as the real deal. He praises it as elegant, sees a clear path to publication, a strong start to a promising career.
It's the safe path, right? The prestigious one any academic would want. Standard route to tenure, respect.
Practical choice.
But Jaren knows it's just a means to an end. He calls it a clever hack to build the machine he actually needed, which just highlights that stark contrast, doesn't it, between the conventional path Finch offers and Jaren's true radical calling.
He's playing the game, but with this secret revolutionary agenda underneath.
Yeah, like a rogue knight pretending to serve the king while secretly planning to overturn the whole kingdom. Or a mage following the guild rules in public, but researching forbidden spells in private. He's operating on a completely different level, with a vision that just transcends that academic treadmill. He's aiming for something fundamentally transformative. And the clash, the real core conflict, it comes when Finch taps the other part of the report, Jaren's informational field theory, and just dismisses it, flat out, calls it a distraction, a dead end.
Ouch!
Yeah. It's not just a disagreement about methods, it's a fundamental split in how they see the world, how they see science. A classic clash between conventional wisdom and radical innovation. Finch leans forward then, the text says, shifting from judge to recruiter, almost pleading, offers Jaren this safe spot on the gravitational lensing project. And he declares, "It's safe, Jaren. It's science."
Whoa, that line.
It really raises that important question, doesn't it? What is the definition of science? Is it only about what's reproducible, what fits the existing paradigms, refining what we already know? Or is it, as Jaren seems to argue, about the courage to push into the unknown? To challenge those paradigms, no matter how safe or comfortable the old way feels.
Finch's view really limits science to the known, the comfortable, which is exactly what Jaren finds so stifling, and ultimately, well, unproductive. And Jaren's response, his retort to Finch, it's sharp, it's incisive. He says, it's also a 50-year-old problem with a 50-year-old tool set. He points out that after the grand unification theories of the 20th century had stalled and string theory had dissolved, the whole field just retreated into the safety of incrementalism. And his observation, no one was looking for new continents anymore. They were just refining the maps of the old one.
That is such a powerful and, honestly, relatable critique of scientific stagnation, maybe even creative stagnation.
It really is. It sets him up perfectly as the hero who dares to look beyond the map, beyond the known world. Like those old explorers defying warnings to find new lands.
Yeah, the rove mages seeking forbidden knowledge.
Yeah. It frames Jaren's quest as this act of profound intellectual rebellion, a refusal to accept limitations imposed by others, especially when those limits seem born out of fear or just a lack of imagination.
Which forces us to ask, right?
Yeah.
What happens when a whole field of knowledge, physics, philosophy, art, whatever, stops looking for the grand truths and just settles for refinement? When that ambition to understand the universe fundamentally gets replaced by comfortable, incremental steps.
It feels like a kind of decay.
Jaren certainly thinks so. He argues the patterns are there. I'm not just speculating. He says, Echo has cross-referenced every cosmological survey since Penzias and Wilson. Okay, let's pause there. Penzias and Wilson, they're the guys who discovered the cosmic microwave background radiation, right? That faint heat left over from the Big Bang. Foundational stuff.
Right, the afterglow.
So Jaren is claiming his AI, Echo, has found something in that background noise. Not just random static, but a coherent, non-random structure hidden within it. It's faint, but it's there.
That's where the hard science detail really grounds the theory.
Exactly. It makes his quest feel tangible. He's not just waving his hands. He's claiming to have data. Data that no one else can interpret, or maybe data no one else dares to look at that way.
And Finch's reaction is just visceral, isn't it? Dripping with disbelief, frustration. Noise is noise. Good God, man, do you hear yourself? You sound like a Pythagorean mystic.
Yeah, the ultimate dismissal from a physicist.
Totally. He accuses Jaren's AI, Echo, of just being a pattern-matching algorithm that'll find patterns in anything if you let it, which is a fair critique of AI sometimes, right?
It is, yeah. Seeing patterns where none exist. Apophenia.
But Finch then contrasts it with his own work, his brutal, painstaking work of eliminating noise. He spent 6 years at the bottom of a salt mine to get a clean reading, and he contrasts that sharply with Jaren inviting it in for tea.
It's a brilliant way to show the fundamental difference. One meticulously filters out anomalies, sees them as impurities. The other embraces them as potential signals.
Believing the truth might be in the noise.
Right. Not in its absence. It's the difference between seeing a glitch and seeing a message. And the climax of this whole confrontation, it's when Finch delivers what the narrative calls that physical blow, calling Jaren's work numerology.
Oof. Yeah, that's rough.
In the scientific world, that's the ultimate insult, equating his life's work, his profound theory, to magical thinking, a sophisticated reading of tea leaves.
It really shows that intellectual persecution visionaries often face, doesn't it, when they challenge the established way?
Absolutely. And it resonates so deeply with fantasy narratives, where new magic or forbidden knowledge gets feared and suppressed by the orthodoxy.
Like a mages guild calling wild magic dangerous chaos.
Or religious orders suppressing texts that contradict dogma.
Exactly.
And Jaren's internal struggle adds another layer, that flash of anger, quickly extinguished by Finch's cold weight of conviction. And Jaren seeing Finch as trying to save a drowning man by chaining him to the dock.
Wow, that's tragic.
It is. Finch isn't evil or malicious here. He's tragically misguided. He's guarding a system Jaren's destined to shatter, and he thinks he's protecting Jaren from some dangerous delusion. It's not good versus evil. It's a conflict between two different definitions of truth.
So after that intense meeting, Jaren walks through the physics department hallway, which is described as a monument to silence, a temple where the gods had long since departed, leaving only the catechism. That imagery is so vivid, almost mournful.
It really reinforces that stifling environment.
Yeah, a place where brilliant minds are now just dutifully refining the measurements of known constants to another decimal place, gilding the bars of their own cages.
Gilding the bars of their cages.
Yeah.
Powerful line.
Isn't it? They are, the narrative says, all good scientists, all doing safe work, all contributing their own small, polished stones to the cairn of established knowledge. None of them were looking at the sky.
It's a haunting picture, isn't it? Intellectual complacency, where the grand pursuit of truth gets replaced by meticulous, uninspired repetition.
Like a scientific treadmill. Safe, but going nowhere new. It's a strong indictment of a system rewarding conformity over real discovery.
And that observation Jaren makes, it raises that question for us too, doesn't it? What happens to progress, to our understanding, when most people are content with comfortable conformity instead of that challenging, often lonely path of discovery? And then, right into this stagnant scene, we meet Ben Carter, another PhD candidate.
Yes, Ben.
Described as everything Jaren wasn't. Clean-shaven, gregarious, and working on a project so conventional it had been pre-approved for a Department of Defense grant.
He's the perfect foil, isn't he? The embodiment of the safe scientist.
Totally. The kind of person who thrives in the system, no desire to question it. He's the path Jaren could have taken. Path of least resistance, guaranteed success within the status quo.
Really highlights the choice Jaren's made, consciously or not. And Ben's advice just sums up that conventional thinking perfectly. He tells Jaren, just give him a couple of papers on the superconductors, bank some goodwill, then go back to your patterns.
Yeah. Just play the game. Appease the powers that be.
Exactly. It's common sense, right? Compromise the radical vision for a normal career. But Jaren tries to explain. He actually tries to share his theory, dives into the statistical impossibility of the geometric structures Echo was finding, the 14-dimensional manifold his theory predicted, and this mind-bending idea that the universe was a projection of a higher dimensional reality and that the noise was the shadow of its true language.
Let's just pause on that 14-dimensional manifold for a sec. It sounds like jargon, sure. But imagine our reality. 3 space dimensions, 1 time. Jaren's theory suggests our universe is just a lower dimensional shadow or unfolding of something vastly more complex, higher dimensional, like living on a flat piece of paper and realizing it's folded many times over in ways you can't see, and the patterns on your paper are actually connected across those unseen folds.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to share this glimpse of this huge, intricate tapestry he's starting to perceive, a concept that just dwarfs Ben's focus on, quark-gluon plasma. And what really stands out is Ben's reaction, right? His eyes glazed over.
The polite nod.
Exactly. The polite, patient expression of someone waiting for a madman to finish his sermon.
been just.
Yeah.
He can't grasp it. It doesn't fit his framework of reality or science.
He's not mean, just incapable.
Right. He's not malicious. He just can't process such a radical departure from what he knows is legitimate science. And Ben's own work. My simulation on quark gluon plasma just finished. The data looks exactly like the last 50 simulations. But hey, that's reproducibility, right?
Perfect encapsulation. It really is. It's safe, repeatable, verifiable. But it's not revolutionary. It's not pushing any boundaries. And this isn't just about the old guard versus the young innovators. Jaron's realization here is poignant. Even his own generation seems content to color inside the lines.
That must feel incredibly lonely.
It absolutely hardens his resolve, solidifies his decision to chase this singular, radical truth. He understands he really is alone on this path. It's a powerful moment of isolation, but it strengthens his heroic conviction.
So, yeah, with that realization, that hard, cold resolve, Jaron makes his decision. If no one else would listen, he would just have to get a result so loud they couldn't ignore it.
Goosebumps moment.
Right, it's that quintessential hero moment, embarking on the perilous, solitary quest, fueled by frustration, strengthened by isolation, driven by this unshakable conviction in his own truth.
The reluctant scientist becomes the determined pioneer.
Exactly, accepting the burden of a truth nobody else dares to even look at. He's moving beyond academic arguments now. He's about to make a statement that's going to echo, well, everywhere.
And the narrative takes us on this symbolic journey with him then. The descent. It's not just physical, is it? It's a metaphor. He ignores the elevator, deliberately takes the stairs down to the sub-basement.
Leaving the monument to silence.
Yes. Leaving that temple of established sterile science for a totally different kind of space. The air down there grew thick with the smell of ozone and machine oil.
Stark contrast to Finch's office.
Completely. This isn't the clean, quiet world of refined theories and polished papers. This is the raw, industrial heart of creation, where sparks fly, machines hum with purpose. It feels like a descent into the underworld of science, or maybe a journey to some hidden ancient forge where true power is made, far from the judging light of academia.
Like stepping into a hidden lair. Arcane machinery. And as he keeps going down, he gets to this heavy, unmarked fire door, stenciled with Annex authorized personnel only. It's ominous, but also kind of alluring, right? Hints at forbidden knowledge.
Secret space.
And behind it, he hears this familiar, comforting hum that grew louder as he got closer.
It's not just machine noise. That's the sound of his sanctuary, his lab, his forge. A place of immense power, potential.
His bat cave. His fortress of solitude. The hidden place where he can be himself, pursue his vision without judgment, where the rules don't apply.
And that hum. It's not just noise. It feels like the thrum of possibility, the vibration of a universe waiting to give up its secrets, waiting for him to unleash its potential. And the chapter ends with this incredibly powerful final image. Jaron steps from the cold, sterile light into the chaotic, vibrant darkness of the annex. He was home.
Ah, perfect ending.
Isn't it? The hero returns to their sacred space, their place of power, creation. It's not just a lab, it's the crucible, where his revolutionary ideas will be forged into proof nobody can deny. It's the sound of his creation, the sound of emergence. It signals the real beginning of his epic journey, where science and mysticism blur and the fate of the universe is about to collide with one man's daring insight.
It's like the hidden door opening, not just into a lab, but into the vast unknown cosmos, where the rules of reality are about to be challenged, and maybe fundamentally rewritten. It just promises this huge adventure of mind and spirit. So wow, we've unpacked that thrilling overview of the Logos War saga, glimpsed its cosmic scale, its philosophical depth, and we've taken a really deep dive into this compelling first chapter, The Static. We've met Jaron Miles, a brilliant, ostracized scientist standing right on the edge of a discovery that could rewrite reality. We've seen him set against this stagnant academic world personified by Dr. Finch, and we know he's unknowingly triggered alarms in some secret universe-spanning war. It's a setup that just screams intellectual adventure alongside epic conflict.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating about Weaver's approach here, what makes this first chapter just grab you, is how he crafts this story that speaks so directly to the hearts of people who love those grand narratives. You know, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, Weiss and Hickman, Salvatore, Eddings, Brooks. It hits those notes. It really does. He's taken that intellectual rigor of hard sci-fi, talking about cosmic background, radiation, higher dimensions, and just seamlessly merged it with the mythic scope, the deep character struggles, maybe even that clearer distinction between good and evil that we often cherish in classic fantasy. It explores those timeless themes, doesn't it? The pursuit of knowledge, the dangers of power, the nature of truth itself in a world that might be illusory.
and the individual's destiny against these overwhelming cosmic forces.
Yeah.
It reminds us that the biggest questions often aren't found in neat academic boxes, but out there at that audacious intersection of what we know and what we dare to imagine. It demands both scientific courage and, well, maybe a touch of the mystic.
So, this whole journey into the Logos War, it raises this important, maybe slightly unsettling question for you listening right now. If reality itself really is a language, right? A cosmic source code just waiting to be deciphered, and we've only just started reading the very first word, what terrifying or maybe beautiful truths might the next word reveal? And maybe more personally, if you were Jaron Miles, if you somehow held the power to truly understand, maybe even rewrite, the fundamental fabric of reality, what would you choose to do with that power? Where would you even begin? And what would be the first change you'd make, knowing the cosmic stakes involved? Something to think about.